Díagríomh go léir a cóide agus tá fáilte wrote, welcome to be my guest with me, Mary Honan on Lear Media TV, supporting the Samaritans Limerick and Tipperary, Clare's Wish Foundation in Limerick, and Deal Animal Rescue in West Limerick. And my special guest today is all the way from the UK, and she is Sharon Louca. Now, Sharon is a small business owner for 12 years, and she's a consultant specializing in business support and quality management. She is also the founder and host of Women's Business Networking Limited. Networking has been a key element in Sharon's business success, and she has run her own networking groups since 2014. Women's Business Networking is a national online support group for female business owners and was launched during the pandemic in July 2020. Welcome, Sharon. How are you?
Thank you, Mary. I'm very well, thank you.
Oh, do you know something? Technology can be wonderful until it isn't. Trying to connect with you on my side was having glitches. But Sharon, tell me all about what was it about you? Did you really think you were going to set up a business? Was it always in the ether for you to set up a business, or did it just happen quite by accident, as many good things do?
Yeah, it was certainly not a long lost passion or anything like that. It was out of necessity at the time. I set up my business in 2009, which was in the height of a recession. And prior to that, I'd been supporting my husband in his business. He'd been in car sales for many years, and we'd worked together for 3 years prior to 2009, and everything was going really well until the recession hit us, and suddenly no longer could we both rely on one source of income, and it was time for either me to go back to work to get another job, or I decided the solution would be to set up my own business. So yeah, it was something that just came about complete by accident.
And tell me about the line of business that you actually work in. You set up the networking side of the business. Do you find that that's easier to run now that we're in? Well, here in Ireland, we're still pretty much locked down. We're the last country in the Western world to actually leave lockdown. We feel a bit like prisoners, to be quite frank. But do you find that COVID has given you that opportunity that you probably wouldn't have had, to be able to juggle your life and be at home as well and work?
Yeah, I mean, very much so. I'd started my own networking group. So I worked from home when I first started out. And then in 2014, I moved into some offices and I had my own meeting room. So that's when I decided then I'd been doing so much networking over the years and had so much advice and support from people that as soon as I got my own meeting space, it seemed a no-brainer to set up my own group. So we met every month face to face in our meeting rooms. Right up until COVID hit. And then when COVID hit, we couldn't meet face to face anymore. Yeah. So basically, a couple of my members, literally their businesses had disappeared overnight. They were very much hands-on, face-to-face businesses, and they literally just ground to a halt. So they were like, what are we going to do? So we agreed we'd have a call the first week of the very first lockdown. And we just carried on having calls between the members online for the whole of the first lockdown. So for 3 months, every week, every Wednesday lunchtime, we used to just all jump on Zoom and just support each other and see how everyone was doing. And some people would have good weeks, some people would have bad weeks. And that's where the opportunity arose to launch Women's Business Networking.
And how valuable do you think it is to, I suppose, there are men's networking groups as well, and there are general groups for business people, not specifically for women. But how important do you think it is for women to feel that they have another woman who shares the unique understanding of what it's like to be a woman in business today? Is it any different from being a man? It's probably a strange question, but should it be, or is it any different being a woman in business to being a man in business?
Yeah, I mean, I've networked, and I still do network in mixed networking groups.
Yeah.
So for me, I've network with everybody, but I think for a lot of women, they just feel more comfortable in an all-female environment. They may be quite new to running a
Yeah.
business, maybe lacking in confidence, probably wouldn't feel that in a mixed environment that they could ask the questions that they want to ask, because they may feel stupid in front of men. It's just a natural sort of thing, isn't it, that we feel as though we need to be showing our confidence and what have you, and not showing our vulnerabilities. Whereas I think when you bring a group of women together, we are able to show up as ourselves, be authentic, and ask those questions.
How do you find that women who start off in the network have a lot of these self-conscious biases, these beliefs within themselves that they're not going to be successful, or that because they're a woman they've got to be a particular way, or they have got to almost be tougher than they'd want to be to try and compete with men? Or do you think that that's unfair on men, really, to actually think that men will actually judge you like that? Because I've worked with a lot of men down through the years, and I found them fantastic to work with. I loved working with men because I found them less judgmental in many respects. Do you think that we give ourselves credit as women to know that we can be soft, we don't have to be powerful, or we don't have to be aggressive in business to actually succeed? Is probably our own personal if you like, vulnerabilities that are actually attractive in business as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I've got male clients, and I don't have an issue. I've got some great male clients, so I certainly don't find it an issue. And I don't find that they look at me any differently being a woman. And I think, like you say, I think now women do find they are more confident to just be themselves. But I think women do have probably additional pressures in a lot of cases, don't they? When they're running a business, they've also got the strains of probably childcare that perhaps a man wouldn't have as much so, as it's predominant. It's not in all cases, I'm not talking sort of across the board, but for a lot of women, trying to launch a business alongside looking after a family, fitting in around school pickups and things like that can be challenging.
And do you find now, Sharon, since you set up in 2014, but do you find since 2014 the fact that women now realize that they can actually work from home, is that always positive, or do people need that human contact as well in business, or do they? I know that a lot of people have said to me that the positive aspect is that they don't have to pay overheads they can set up inside an office inside in their room. They can set up an office inside in their house. But then the drawback is that you don't have as much, get up, dress, go out, get into your car, drive to and meet completely different people and come home. So there's positives and negatives to working from home. It sounds wonderful when you're starting off, but
I agree totally, because there is the convenience of working from home, but also combined with that, you've got the loneliness then, haven't you? Because like you say, if you're going out to work, you're probably going to a place where you're going to be mixing with other people. And suddenly then when you're working for yourself and you are at home, you feel very isolated. And I think that's the benefit of having a network around you, so that you don't feel so lonely and you know that you've got people to call on. So yes, it's certainly got swings and roundabouts.
Has it grown exponentially since you started?
Yes, I mean, because we were face to face, we were restricted geographically. So my members were only sort of within a 10-mile radius of our offices. So to go from that to now being online, we're now online. So we've had members come, visitors from last week we had someone from Denver, Colorado. We've had people from Spain, from Italy. I've got a member now from Norway. We've had visitors from Spain, Portugal. So literally, it's just completely widened up the opportunities. And I think because of COVID, it's taught us all that we need to be able to run a business remotely now and online. So it means that you now can do business with people literally anywhere in the world.
Isn't it funny? I was speaking to somebody there recently, interviewing, and they're a psychotherapist, and they said that it's just grown to uncontrollable, almost uncontrollable size, really, her business, because she said, like you, whereas before she'd go into her office and meet one person. She might meet 5 in the day or 6 in the day or whatever. Now, because of the network, everyone that she has are coming from Australia or America or New Zealand or Canada or the UK, whereas before, and some people are saying to her, well, look, when we go back to normality, we'd like to do maybe 1 or 2 sessions just on Zoom. I mean, it's the same with us. When we were starting off just in the middle of COVID, and it locked us down. We couldn't get cameras in, nothing into the studio. And we're still in our business is still in its absolute infancy. I'd say it's really an amoeba at this moment in time. It's not even an infant. But we just saw the advantage of Zoom and decided to do the shows. And then we decided, wouldn't it be good to maybe offer this business to women's networks like yourself, for people to actually come in and talk about their business, so they'd have a nice little package that they could then send off to their, and we would never have thought of that had it not been for lockdown. You're forced all the way to find creative ways of, well, that door is locked at the moment, this door is open. Is that the way it was with you?
Totally, I agree, because it's whilst it has been a really stressful time for us all, hasn't it? And the uncertainty, and like you say, the restrictions we've had to live under, but as well, it has just created so many opportunities as well. So I mean, I've never got to do this probably if it hadn't have been for lockdown. And the same with the people that I've met through my network. I would never have met them in the old way of working, when we just used to go around and meet people face to face. So yes, I feel it's certainly created new opportunities.
And why particularly a networking group rather than opening a fashion store or a beauty salon or whatever? There could be any amount of businesses, somebody with an entrepreneurial sense about. Now, I'm the last person that would have seen myself as being having an entrepreneurial sense. I'm a creative, artistic person. But it's amazing what you'll do when you're actually forced to do it. And it's amazing with women in particular, how they can juggle the family and also juggle the business. But I just I'll ask you, what was it about networking that appealed to you?
Okay. Well, when I started out, as I say, I started literally from nothing. I had no clients, no contacts, nothing. I literally decided one day, that's it. I'm gonna try and work for myself. I don't want to go back into the corporate world, so it's got to work. And nothing really happened for the first 6 months. And then I literally just fell across business networking, started going along to 1 or 2 groups, then you get invited to other groups. And I just found that the help and support that I had in those early days was so crucial. My business wouldn't have survived, I don't think. I wouldn't be here now if I hadn't have discovered networking. So as soon as I got my own meeting room, it was sort of, why not give back? My passion is helping other people. That's what I do through my consultancy work. So I wanted to give back for the help and support that I've had over the years, and hopefully encourage new people starting out that they can get that support as well to help them to grow and create a successful business.
And in an average day, what would Sharon Louca do? How would business work I suppose in the physical sense, how does business work for you? I mean, ideally, what you're saying is it's a network. People come to you and you talk about your business. But financially, how does a network business work, if you like?
Okay, well, the way I've set mine up is a membership. So some networking groups you'll go to where it literally is just to pay by the meeting, pay as you go, no commitment.
Okay.
You can just turn up one day and you don't have to go again, whatever. I decided to set mine up as a membership, so it's an annual membership. And then we meet online twice per month. And then we've also got a Facebook group, so we keep in contact in between times. So that's the format that I decided to run my group on.
So very, very good. Almost like I'm just thinking there to myself, I teach Irish dancing as well. And dancing works very much the same. You know, it's monthly, yearly. Some people pay by the day. I often find that if you pay by the month, or you pay by the year or whatever, people will turn up.
Yes.
Whereas if you pay by the day, people are inclined to say to themselves, oh, you know, the weather is too bad, I'm not going out. But if they've paid in advance, there's a double benefit. You're going to get paid, but also they're going to go out and avail of the business that they might just otherwise say, oh, I'm in my pajamas now, I won't bother going out. And
no, I agree. And I think the fact that it is a membership means that people do get to build those relationships because they're seeing each other at the meetings and building those relationships. And that's what networking is all about. It's all about building relationships so you can refer business to each other. And mine is very much focused around the supportive side of things as well. So building knowledge and gaining support and gaining confidence as well.
Growing up, was that always, were people very much center of your ideas of work, and going to always work with people? Or did you think you were going to go into an office, or you were going to be, did this just happen? I know I said to you, did this just happen as a consequence of COVID, but were you always leaning towards going into your own business rather than working for somebody else?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, that is. I mean, I would certainly say that growing up, I was very, very shy, very lacking in confidence. So the fact that I can do this today is quite an achievement in itself.
You're among friends. You're among friends.
But yes, growing up, and when I met my husband, I was very much, because he was the entrepreneur, he was the self-employed one, so I was more the sensible one who went to work to gain the regular salary to make sure we could pay the bills. So it never really entered my head that I would be able to do it. But I think I always, each job, as I changed sort of jobs, I always knew there was something more that was meant for me. And I think when I then started my business and it started to take off and what have you, that really helped with my confidence and made me realise that you can really achieve anything you put your mind to if you want it enough and work hard enough for it. So yeah. Funny,
Sharon, isn't it? When you think about it, we all go through those stages where you say to yourself, what am I doing here? What is my purpose? Why am I still here? And you're fighting these demons and wanting to find that little niche, that little place for you that you can grow as a person and as a business, in a business and earn a living, that doing something. They say, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And it's to find that balance between loving what you do and earning a decent living out of it, something that nobody wants. I don't think anybody rational wants to be a millionaire. They just want to be to do something they love and to work and to be able to earn a living and to be able to pay bills and have a comfortable lifestyle. But you just, there are times when you struggle and you think, oh God, is it ever going to come right? Is it ever going to happen for me? How did you face, or did you face those demons?
Yes, definitely. I mean, in the early days, I think for anybody starting a new business, your salaries, it seems to be a long way off, doesn't it, before you can start and certainly earning the sort of salary you perhaps have been used to in your employed roles. So it's certainly challenging. But I think mine was just a passion to help people, which has always been there for the last 12 years. And that's really being fed now by the new Women's Business Networking, because that does feed my passion to help and support. And because it's people who are like women like me, who are in the early stages of their business. So that sort of really feeds a passion. But yes, I think there's always difficult times. And over COVID, some of my clients put work on hold. So certainly I noticed a drop in my income due to COVID. So it is challenging. But I think overall, I love what I do. So we just you just ride the storm, don't you? And
in a sense, there isn't very much difference between what you're doing and being a counsellor, in a sense, because you're there, you're not, you are, in a sense, I suppose, helping the person psychologically and emotionally through their business, because many people's depression comes to people from different circumstances and sets of circumstances, and losing your business or the potential of closing down your business, or even the possibility that you're never going to achieve what you were hoping to achieve, and you don't often know what it is you're hoping you'll achieve, just that you know, as you said earlier, that there's something greater there for you. But you're not achieving that something greater. And you then go to somebody and sit down and talk to a Sharon Louca. And it's almost like an AA meeting, I suppose, or a Slimming World meeting, where you have people of like mind, people who are all struggling to try and find that particular space for them in the world. And they know that, God, it's not just me. I struggle with that all the time, to be honest with you, Sharon. I always think, what's the purpose? Like, what am I here for? Why am I here? I want to do something that I love doing. And do you find that you see yourself as, well, you probably don't see yourself as, but I see you as a type of counsellor?
Yeah, I've never thought of it like that, but I suppose in a way I am. And I think as well, it's making people, I think I've been guilty of it in the past, this thinking I'm not good enough and things like that. And I think that's things that a lot of women can resonate with, that when they've got somebody and people around them who can listen to what they're doing and encourage them and make them realise that they are doing a good job and they are doing well and they are successful. And sometimes we're not very good at believing in ourselves, are we? So I think having people around you, and if I can do that to help people to believe in themselves more, then that can be a big stumbling block for people. The lack of confidence can sort of hold them back. And
don't you think it's so important that people encourage, rather than that you have that, I suppose, encouraging environment, places like the Women's Business Networking?
Definitely, yeah.
I mean, where you just feel like I'm not alone in this, yeah. and where you can get ideas. Your own business from, you become stagnant. I think people can go into business and they can be successful for many, many years, but the business never grows as it could grow, and in the way it could if they had people like a network of people where they could say, oh, I never thought now I could do that now in my business. And even though my business is successful, I could do that in my business, and I never thought about it until I heard such and so talking about it, and it mightn't work for them, but I know it would work for me.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and that's another part of our meetings. We do have speakers, so they're talking on various business topics or personal development. So there's always opportunities to learn. We never stop learning, do we? There's all, like you say, you can get a bit set in your ways, but there's always something new to learn. We often do brainstorming and discussion topics around things as well. Yeah, we do that, and people love that. And often we'll say, like, if somebody's got an issue, we'll say, right, what's your issue? And then the whole group will sort of contribute to put in ideas to how you could overcome it, or what suggestions they can make to
yeah, it's funny. Help. It's funny, Sharon. My very first degree was in art and design. And I thought, you know, after I finished it, you know, that wasn't the area I wanted to work in. It was a passion, but not, I didn't want to work in it. And then I thought maybe I've wasted 4 years of my life. But I've realized that again, like networking, the emphasis was on brainstorming and you think you have the right idea here. And then you keep brainstorming and brainstorming until eventually, and you keep changing what you've done. And eventually you might end up back with what you started. But it's the process of getting there and talking about it and realizing, yes, that's exactly what I wanted. But there were other ideas along the way that I can bring in. And I realized that was probably the best grounding I ever got, was the importance of networking, or not networking, but brainstorming.
Yes.
And how important was your husband in all of this?
He's always been, very supportive.
Go on, give him
he has. So yeah, he encouraged me and supported me to be able to go on my own. And there was a point in the first 6 months where it was like, come on, you've got to start earning some money, which was fair enough, and I was very aware of that anyway. But as I say, as soon as networking came along, I mean, it's funny because he said he couldn't ever do the networking meetings and what have you. They're just not his thing. But he does network because he knows a lot of people in his industry. He's been in it a long time, so he is. But
he networks in a different way.
That's it. Yeah. So standing in a room and standing up and talking, he's not even though he's the more confident of the two of us, he couldn't do that, whereas I've sort of pushed myself and made myself do it and go out my comfort zone to actually to do that.
But in a sense, Sharon, you're an introvert, and I'm talking, and strangely enough, we're all introverted in our own way. There's things we're extrovert about and things we're introvert, and you're clearly extrovert when it comes to networking with people. But at the moment, you have that comfort of the screen in front of you. So in a sense, there is that sense of protection, because you can be extrovert in an introvert way. So you can deal with people, 6 or 7 or 10 people, or even 100 people on a Zoom meeting. But yet you have your own little space beyond the screen that you can remain yourself.
Yes.
And that's I suppose a wonderful thing about Zoom is that you don't have to see people or physically be around people. You can be an introvert whilst also having your extrovert activity, if you like. You can mix with people and yet be on your own.
Yes, I agree. I agree, and I do find myself very comfortable online. I mean, I'm better now in face-to-face environments than I was like 10 years ago. But yes, I think if we're talking comfort zones, I'm more comfort online than face-to-face in a room full of strangers.
And the Sharon Louca 10 years ago, would you have seen yourself in this position today?
No, I always remember the first time I had to stand up and talk about myself. I was given a 10-minute slot to talk about my business. It was the first, I'd only been trading 6 months, and somebody said to me, what what do you see yourself, where do you see your business in the next 5 years? And I remember thinking at the time, I haven't got a clue if I'm still going to be in business in 5 weeks' time, the way things were at the time. But I just said, I'll have a business centre or I'll franchise my business. And within 4 years, I've got a business centre. And it's funny, isn't it, that I put it out to the universe and it's sort of
yeah, it's kind of there's a book about that, if you imagine
the law of attraction, yeah.
If you imagine what you're going to be, you will be, you just bring it into your life. I'm trying to imagine things forever that I'm going to be, and it's not happening. No matter how much I try to imagine myself as a brain surgeon, it's not going to happen, Sharon. But do you, how do you see your business growing now? Because, this has potential with the Zoom to work alongside your day-to-day once everyone is, I know the UK is pretty much back to normal, which we're like children in a sweet shop looking in the window at the UK and States and every place. And we just think this country is, I personally think it's insane the way we're locked down. But do you see, how are you going to harness the potential of this?
My plan for growth for the networking is I'm looking to make this my main income earner and my main focus. And the reason I was keen to do that is that I've got a holiday home in Cyprus. So my plan in the next 5 years is to spend more of my time there. And by having an online business, I can actually.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
I can live between the two. So that's sort of, it's funny, I've been looking at a way that I could carry on working, but still spend as much time over there as I could. And it's sort of what's happened over COVID has just created that opportunity for me. So basically that will be my focus on supporting the women in my network, looking at perhaps doing some programs, workshops that will even more sort of help and support them, make them give them accountability as well, so that not just attending a workshop, going away, forgetting about it and not implementing anything, just do some accountability as well to really help it to sort of strengthen the learning and help them to grow. So yeah, that's my plan.
Should also think of maybe having a weekend in Cyprus conference for all your networking business people.
I've thought about conferences and perhaps awards as well. I've sort of got into applying for awards and lately to help to raise your profile, really. So
and what's the process with that now? Do you have to associate yourself with a specific college?
No, basically I've there's different sort of organisations that do business awards. I'm part of an academy called the Woman Who Academy, and they run an annual awards event. So I was a finalist in October in the Achieve Through Networking category. And there's different other networking groups that run their own award events as well. So it's just a matter of, I've been nominated in the past, I've won awards in the past, but now I actually nominate myself, which again is something I never thought I would do. And I'm encouraging my members it's a really good way of just raising your profile and raising your brand by applying for awards. So
we thought with our little business concept, we just thought it was good to I was interviewing somebody and I thought, this would be a fantastic idea, for us to try and, market our little packages, because they do come out really nice. You get a nice finished package, and you can add anything at all to it. If you have brochures or you have anything that you want included, photographs, images, advertising posters, or anything that you want included in the package, you can have it included, and then you get the MP4, the video file, and you can forward that to all your own network, and they can forward it to their network and so on. So people have an idea of the Sharon Loucas of the world, or what their business really is about and what they're about. because I think people buy into people more than they'll buy into an idea. I don't think people buy into corporations or anything. I think they buy into the person. They say, oh, I like her or I like him, and I believe she's honest, and I'll do business with her. Do you know?
What my whole business has been built on. All my business comes from people who've been referred to me or people I've met through networking and built a relationship. So I 100% agree. It's all down to building trust, and people do buy from the people they know, like, and trust.
Isn't it great that you can actually go off to Cyprus? Gosh, off to Cyprus and continue doing the same business that you're doing in the UK.
Yeah.
Because of the potential. Do you do it via Zoom as well?
Yes. Yeah. So I was over there in October, and I hosted one of my meetings from over there. So I was sat outside by the pool and hosting my meeting.
Your glass of vino.
Yeah, perfect. So
there's so much potential for networking businesses. I must think of it myself. think of joining one, because
start your own.
start my own. Yeah, indeed. It's amazing what you'll do when you put to the pin of your collar. How do you think people that are in your network are being affected by COVID, and how are you being affected? I mean, did it really affect your business to the point that you said, I have to do this? Are people coming to you saying that they're, that it has beaten them down psychologically or emotionally more than financially?
Yeah, I think definitely in the case of the members and the people that I know, yes, have just found it really stressful, and having to pivot their business as well as worrying about family and finances and everything. It has just been a really, really difficult time for so many. And I think the more you have got that support around you, the difference it can make. I think for me, it just gave me something to focus on. To help to get through what we were all experiencing.
Yeah, it's a dreadful situation. I mean, my family are entirely in the UK, and it's just this country. It opened up the other day for flights, but for only for people vaccinated, which I have a problem with, because in the sense of, I find it's no different from discriminating against somebody because of many people can't take the vaccine, medical reasons. And are you saying you're not welcome inside? You're not welcome. You're creating that two-tier society, which is dangerous. And I did my PhD on childhood under Nazism, and you worry that you see there's different levels of discrimination, and that can bring its own problems to people, especially people who are unvaccinated, trying to get their business, trying to grow their business, and they're being prevented because they may not be able to have the vaccine against doctors' wishes. That brings up its own problems as well, I suppose, for people. And I'm sure networks like yours will help people to realize, well, we can do it on Zoom. We can run our business on Zoom. Is everyone that goes to your network or is part of your network, are all of them in a position to be able to run their businesses via Zoom?
I think they've all had to create an option where, like, one of my ladies is a holistic therapist, so she does hands-on treatments, but then over lockdown she did create different workshops on how people could manage stress and things. So she was able to, she'd still got within her skill set things that she could deliver online. But yeah, I mean, all the ladies in my group have survived. Nobody I know that's sort of thrown the towel in and given up. So no, they're certainly.
And as you say, some of the businesses have actually grown, and some people have actually maybe closed down a business before lockdown or because of lockdown, but have found another niche in, like in your case.
I think there'll be a lot of new businesses, won't there, as well, created, because a lot of people who have been made redundant will perhaps decide that they want to start up on their own, or perhaps haven't got the opportunities that they want in the employment, so they'll perhaps try and start a business. So there seems to be that I'm hearing about. There's lots of new businesses being started.
And a lot of people will find that they don't have to, it's going to be cheaper to actually work from home. Mm-hmm. And to do their business from home and not have to pay for staff to come in. That can have its own drawbacks as well, but for staff not to have to pay for big overheads, lighting and lighting and the premises and everything like that. And insurance. They don't have insurance either because they're in their own home.
No, that's it. Yeah.
So you don't have to have the insurance for the building because you have your home insurance. And it's in some ways it's a very liberating way of running your business, but I just worry that working from home is going to isolate a lot of people. That I think they need a healthy balance between working, doing work from home, and also there's a psychotherapist beside us in the station where we are, the radio station, and he has the best of both worlds. He works from the station, but he also works from home, and at least he can get in and people can feel that they can just get out of their homes and come and meet him rather than just sitting in their house and talking to him on a Zoom.
No, I agree. And I think there is going to be an impact, isn't there, and a fallout for years to come on people's mental health and how they do sort of cope with what they've all been through. Like you say, being isolated at home, whilst at first it was probably a novelty and great, you haven't got to do the commute into the office. But I should imagine that there's a lot of people who are now thinking, I wish we could just go back to the office and go back to normal. And like you say, just have that interaction with other people, because, I would imagine working from home continually would.
And then sometimes when you're talking to somebody who's working from home, you can hear the child in the background screaming. I remember ringing our my telephone company one day, and the child was wailing. I thought it was a cat in the background, and she said, "I'm so sorry, it's my child."
I think we've just got used to that now, haven't we? It had been alien to us before, but now it's like whatever's going on in the background on Zoom, we just. I
just got to say to her, I thought it was a cat because it just sounded like a cat in the background, and I was just going to say, "You have kittens," and she said, "No, it's a child." But the funny thing was, she was in I don't know, I think she was in India or someplace. She wasn't in Ireland, and and it was just so funny the way we were there, the child in the it's just it brings you back to reality. I'm in the house.
That's it.
But Sharon, it was an absolute pleasure talking to you today. And
thank you for inviting me. I really enjoyed it.
Pardon?
I said thank you for inviting me. I really enjoyed it.
My pleasure, and please share it with everyone in your network, and please tell them that we're here for any one of them who would like to talk to us about coming on and doing a show, and we send them the whole package, and they'll see from yours what the concept of our shows are.
Yeah, no, that'd be fantastic. And I've already told them all about it, and I've got several who are interested. So I'm sort of the guinea pig in the process to
and it's
show them what it's all about. And then,
we couldn't be keeping it any cheaper than we're keeping it, because we're so aware that people are in lockdown and that finances are, everything is so kind of up in the air with people at the moment, and they're just trying to forge a little path for themselves in this world. And so we're very conscious of that. But thank you very much, Sharon.
No, you're welcome.
Best wishes to the Women's Business Network in UK.
Yes, to you and your business.
It'll be changing to Women's Business Networking Global soon.
Hopefully.
Sin deireadh leis an clár. That's the end of the show for today. Until the next time, Lacúnamh Day. Bawalum to Galer Chiacana, Sonus agus Gra. I wish you peace, happiness, and love. Agus Gadei Shiv Slán. Slán, bye bye, Sharon.
Bye.
Bye.